It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out, it's trash day. Putting you out of my mind. It's trash day, I'm putting you out, it's trash day. I'm putting you out, trash day. I'm putting you out of my mind. Now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up, now I'm gonna clean up the house. I'm taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage, taking all your garbage out.
It starts with some beer, so you shouldn't have fear. Two garbage guys with facts, but they both still have tact. It's that time at last for the best damn podcast. It's Can Crusher Day!
And welcome to a special edition of Can Crushers on a Friday night. This is Mark Martinez, as Paul is not here tonight. This podcast is going to be a special interview with the one, the only Al Snow. Yes, that Al Snow. Al Snow from the WWE. Al Snow from ECW. Al Snow, the now owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling. Joining Al Snow will be his business partner, Chad Miller. We'll hear a few words from Chad. So this was wonderful. I enjoyed doing this interview, just learning some stuff about Al. And the big news is this is a partnership that will be happening monthly now. We'll check in with Al every so often to see what's going on in Ohio Valley Wrestling. So after this next break, we'll jump right into the interview with Al and Chad. Hope you enjoy it. And then when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about it and, go from there. So I hope you enjoy the interview. Stay tuned.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And joining us right now on Can Crushers, the legendary hardcore champion, ECW icon, Al Snow. Al, welcome to Can Crushers.
Well, thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate you having me on, along with my partner and friend, Chad Miller, is joining us. Chad, the Can Crusher Miller, is on here.
That's right here. Chad is throwing back a few.
Yeah, Chad is the champion of the people. He is taking up the cause as a civil servant to fight the good fight for those of you in the public that can't stand on your own, and is willing to take on Raccoon Boy, a varmint of the trash dumpster, to uphold the rules and the laws that are set forth by people like himself to protect people like you and me.
Excellent, Chad. I'm glad you're here. I might be more excited that Chad's here than Al's here.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. You have quite the character in Al, and he's been a lot of fun to be in business with, and obviously I'm excited to hear about you guys as well with your background and your backstory on your show.
We'll go over me real quick because nobody cares about me. This way we'll throw it out. 1995, graduate in high school. I went to the University of Pitt Bradford, and really what this is two guys drinking beer talking about wrestling.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
As long as you make it doing it, I'm fine, Mark.
We are only from the bottoms.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get into Al real quick, and then we'll jump in with Chad as well, because I know he's got a lot of the OVW stuff. But let's focus on Al from the get. It's really the generic questions. It is because I want to know them along with our listeners.
Okay.
Growing up, you were a wrestling fan, correct?
Yes, very much so. And then I was about 14 years old, and I made a conscious decision that was what I wanted to do. And you know, for the next 4 years, I foolishly pursued it, trying in vain just about everything I could to convince somebody to take me under their wing and train me. And finally, when I was 18 years old, I convinced somebody, probably against their better judgment, a man by the name of Jim Lancaster, to train me, take responsibility for me professionally. And May 22nd of 1982, I had my first professional match, and I've been rolling ever since.
Yeah, I was actually going to touch on that. You went to an Ole and Gene Anderson tryout, and that's where you met Jim, right?
No, I had met Jim prior to that, and then I had gotten a hold of Gene Anderson. What I would do is we didn't have the internet back then,
right?
And so I would walk to the local library, and they had phone books for every major city in the United States. And I would get a wrestling magazine. I'd find out where wrestling promotions offices were, what city. I'd go get the phone book for that city. I'd look up the phone number for the office, and I would call every month. I would make a phone call. And I finally got a hold of Gene Anderson and Jim Crockett's promotions in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he said they were having a tryout in October. And I took a 24-hour bus ride, which was probably one of the most miserable experiences of my life. And went down there and basically got my ass beat and had my nose broke and sent back home. So,
wow. There's nothing to say against that. Are the Andersons that stiff for real, or were they just hazing you with the quotes?
Well, what they were doing was they were, they wanted to make sure that anybody that came in left with an appreciation and a respect for the wrestling business, and then went out of their way to tell everybody, all their friends and family, hey, you think this stuff's fake, but let me tell you what they put me through, type of thing. And if you earned your way in, you earned their respect, and and then you had an opportunity. But that wasn't going to be the case for me. So
nice. Let's reverse a little bit. When you were a young Al Snow, who were some of your favorites? Who did you look up to?
There were guys you probably don't even know, like Bobo Brazil and Dick the Brewer and Paul Christie and Roger Kirby and Al Costello and then when I got a little older, Dusty Rhodes, and it was all because back then there were territorial offices,
right.
Regional promotions. They weren't national at that time, and I would there were different ones in different areas that I would like. Austin Idol, Buzz Sawyer, Dusty Rhodes. You could go on down the list. Superstar Billy Graham was a big star back then, up in New York.
Right. Yeah, I know most of them. There's a few that you didn't. I'm old. Don't get me wrong. I'm old, so I know the old guys as well. So, what made you, or which one of those idols made you want to be a professional wrestler?
I would say just all of them. I mean, and just it was just something that captivated me, and that I made made a decision that it was what I wanted to do and wanted to pursue, and I've been doing it. I've done it for 36 years, and I've never once regretted a day in my life of doing it. It's just been, I've been very blessed to get to do what I love to do for as long as I've gotten to do it. It
is fascinating once you find your, career. It's really never a job, right?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I've been on vacation for 36 years.
And that's phenomenal. And I hope this podcast turned into that little plug. I hope that turns into this with your glorious words. I hope so.
Well, you never know. You just, you pursue what you want to pursue, and eventually it'll pay off.
Thank you. So let's fast forward to where now myself and kind of like my listening squad remembers you. You were a rocker. You were head. You were job squad. You were in ECW. I saw you a few times. It was dubbed Pittsburgh, but it was actually Monaca, Pennsylvania.
Golden Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that place, by the way. A little
too.
sidebar. I loved it.
It was a great building. I don't know if you were there the night that Sandman and New Jack were in the ring against the Dudleys, and they were tripping on like 3 hits of acid each, plus God knows what else. And Paul Heyman was on the microphone up above in the balcony going, na 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 na.
I was. Yes, I was.
Do you remember that?
I do. The one that actually I really remember was the crowd went nuts one night, and it was a tables match between Sabu and ECW was a tables match all the time, but Sabu actually chucked part of the table out and hit somebody. That's the one that actually hits me in the head. Sorry.
Yeah, hit that guy in the audience, literally knocked him out.
Yeah, dead cold.
Yeah.
I loved it though. I loved it. I would go back to that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, it was good times.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be hit with the table, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, I agree. So out of those ones, Rocker, Head, Job Squad, what was your favorite? Or, ECW, Al, as we would dub it.
I would say that every chance I got to get in a ring and do what I loved to do, that was it. It didn't matter to me what it was doing. What mattered was I was out there performing in front of that audience. That's what mattered. So.
What is your favorite match? Do you have? This is a 2-part question. Your favorite match growing up, like mine is still Savage and Steamboat. That's nobody can touch that for me. But but your favorite match growing up, and then the favorite match that you were in.
Well, probably favorite match growing up is the one that I remember. Like, when I was really young, the original Sheik ran the territory where I lived in Ohio, and part of Western Pennsylvania, Michigan, part of Northern Kentucky, West Virginia. I mean, he had a big area, that big swath, and he made a lot of money. But then he kind of burned the territory to the ground. That kind of went away for, several years, 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden we got this shows just how old I am. We got Cablevision for the first time. It was a brand new invention, and TBS came on the air, and I distinctly remember, it was Georgia Championship Wrestling, and the first thing I saw was the angle they had ran at the Omni that week. They had Dusty Rhodes was going to be the special referee. It was Ivan Koloff and Ole Anderson against Tommy Rich, and I believe it was Wahoo McDaniels. And you see Dusty, and he's got a white T-shirt on. It's torn. He's bleeding. He's stumbling through the crowd, and apparently they make it like he was jumped in the parking lot by Ole and Ivan to prevent him from getting to be the special referee. But he fights on and goes through the crowd, and from that moment on, I was enraptured with.
Okay.
And then a favorite match in my career, it's so hard to be able to pick just one to say, well, that's it. Probably one of the ones that really stand out for me is we did the pay-per-view for ECW in New Jersey at, God, I can always forget the name of this city in New Jersey. It's down on the boardwalk.
I'm
can't remember. Yeah, but we did the pay-per-view where Lance Storm was taking on Chris Candido and Shane Douglas, and I was his partner. And, I came out, and they had all that, literally about 4,500 styrofoam heads, and they had the strobe lights going and the music going. It looked like, quite honestly, no pun intended, a snowstorm had hit inside the building.
Right.
And that was a pretty awesome moment.
Yeah, and if you've never seen that, guys, make sure it's all over YouTube. Check it out. It's an amazing one. The match is awesome within itself, but that entrance with all those heads and making it a snowstorm, it's exactly what I thought is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was pretty.
A little dig, and this might end our partnership. So you're telling me it wasn't the kennel match with you and Big Boss Man?
No, you'd be surprised. I mean, considering the entire object of the match, the whole focal point of the story were the animals, and of course they were. Even people in porn know that you can't work with children or animals, and they were busy outside the cage, fornicating, urinating, and defecating, where we couldn't show them on TV or even utilize them in the match. But we built the entire story around them. So
yeah,
my career, yeah.
That was rough as a teenager. That was kind of rough to watch. It really was.
Imagine how rough it was as an adult inside there.
How did you even stay together? One other thing before we shift gears and talk about what you guys are doing now, so this way we can hear that glorious voice of Chad. Who was somebody you enjoyed working with and why?
There were a lot of guys: Chris Candido, Lance Storm, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Sabu, Shane Douglas, Marty Jannetty, Steve Blackman. There were a variety of guys, that I liked. Road Dogg, really Big Boss Man was a wonderful to great person, wonderful to work with. All kinds of guys. I mean, they were all really, really back then. They were all really good. And even back in the day, then, before that, there were Harley Race and was amazing.
So you pretty much named the whole hardcore division that I would remember is how I would put it.
Well, there were other guys I worked with that weren't. I mean, it's just we are all kind of in that hardcore division with WWE. And those are just prominent names that I think you would recognize more so than a lot of other guys, older guys that the general public probably wouldn't know.
Right. All right, now we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about your new endeavor. You are now the owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling, which has been huge.
Well, myself and Chad. Chad is he is also guilty of that as charged. So
right. So now we get to actually hear Chad. Thank God.
Yeah, finally.
Oh boy,
yeah. All been on our seats.
So Ohio Valley's been rooted with the NWA, ROH, TNA, WWE, and you've been there pretty much the whole time, some sort. Maybe you've had stints here and there, but you've been along the whole story. Tell us what you've seen that's changed and everything from there.
I would say that what's changed is just, the roster, the talent. It's very transient. It constantly is developing, growing, changing. Some leave, some stay, some develop, go on to pursue other opportunities. And that's what makes it, one, challenging, but it also makes it exciting because for the audience, wrestler is nothing more than a product. It's no different than a TV series you liked or you like peanut butter. At some point in time, you get tired of eating peanut butter, or you like a certain beer, and then after a while, you want something different. You just try a different beer. Everybody has a run, and with OVW, you get the chance to get exposed to, new talent that come in on a regular basis, and then get fresh ideas, fresh approaches. It becomes all new again. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice. And the alum list that's been at OVW, this is huge. I really didn't know this. I'm going to throw myself under the bus. Some of the people that have come from OVW, you know the Brocks and this and that, but let's talk about some of those. Who have been some of your, I guess you can't say favorites because you could probably dig yourself a hole, but let's talk about some of them.
Well, I mean, you can start with, Cena, Brock, Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista. That list, of that first generation is pretty extensive.
That's a who's who.
Yeah. Then you go into Joey Mercury and John Morrison and Cena Beth Phoenix and Alicia Fox and Rosa Mendez and Maurice and The Miz and CM Punk and, Santino Marella and the Boogeyman, and you just keep going on and on and on. Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas. I think we did a count, and Chad might be able to correct me. I don't remember, but I think it was like of alumni that were on the main roster. It was like 248 or something like that at one point. Of those, a high percentage of those were all main eventers in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So we've got a very, Cody Rhodes, I just remembered him. We've got a very long pedigree of people that we've trained and developed and have went on to play major factors, not just in WWE, but around the world in major promotions all over the world. So.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, let's talk about how you ended up buying it. Okay.
Well, I met Chad, and Chad met me, and then I think Chad can explain more.
Okay.
Than out to that. So.
No, I mean I was actually chairman of the Boxing Wrestling Commission for Kentucky, and the WWE, every time they would come into Kentucky, you would see this huge spike in promoters, about 30% every time, actually. Promoters, wrestlers, and or other type of event staff. And I was like, there's really not a product to back up and support, because it was almost like an EKG line. And you would see this huge spike and then fall off again, a huge spike and fall off again. And I was like, if we could just have a backstop there to catch it at its high point, and then whenever the WWE comes back into town, we could just keep it going up and up and up, opposed to falling off. And I had the privilege, and I will say this in front of Al, the privilege of meeting him, and we became really good friends, and his viewpoints and philosophies kind of aligned with mine. And Danny Davis, who had owned OVW previously, who we bought it off of, was in a position where he was like, I need somebody to hand this off to. And he looks at Al almost like his son. And he was like, I'd really like to see Al Snow buy this. And I went to Al and I said, what do you think about this? And like, one thing that I've found is I can help the state out and help, wrestling out and combat sports out in general more as an entrepreneur than I could as a politician. And so I approached Al about it. I resigned from the Boxing Wrestling Commission, and about 4 weeks later, we ended up buying it.
Yeah, and that was in April, correct?
We didn't take full ownership until June.
Okay.
June 1.
Okay. And recently, you guys had your first. It was recently, a month ago, but recently you guys had your first big to do. OVW 1000, it was actually on Fight TV, the app now as well. Do you guys see you going more towards Fight TV, that app, or are you going to continue doing the YouTube as well?
We're actually on a couple different platforms. We're on Channel 21 WBNA here locally in Louisville. We have, obviously the YouTube, and we also are trying to work through a Roku channel right now, but Fight TV, those people have been absolutely awesome, and Al's been instrumental in that. I think that the pay-per-view type model and what that does is allows people outside of Louisville and outside of Kentucky to gain access to our product.
Fight TV, we're in the process of putting our weekly show on there so that our audience can follow the show, and then with our bigger event. Like December 14th, we have a really big event that we're going to do. Very similar to what WWE does with, like a Hell in the Cell. We have a very similar setup with a 15-foot high steel cage on the ring, and then a 20-foot high cage that will surround the entire barrier. Where the barrier would normally go for a normal ring event, we have a 20-foot high cage. And it just doesn't have a roof, but it's quite honestly, it's the same kind of setup as a Hell in a Cell that WWE does. And we'll do that for December 14th, and we'll do that as a pay-per-view on Fight TV, so everybody can watch that.
And pay-per-views, price point roughly is
$9.99.
okay.
So, nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's excellent. So if you have a little device, you can actually throw it right over on your TV as well. So you can sit and watch it on a 65-inch TV compared to a 13-inch phone.
That's right.
So more OVW. You have Abyss as your heavyweight champion right now, and he's just running wild. He's got 5 guys that all want him, but Abyss is Abyss.
Yeah. Abyss is, he's a veteran. He's a TNA Hall of Famer, and brings a lot of experience and a lot of size. The guy's, quite honestly, I think people don't realize just how really big he is. He's 6'6", 6'7", and about 350, and he can move like a freight train, and he's a very impressive athlete.
Saw him in Erie, Pennsylvania when TNA years ago came up to Erie, Pennsylvania, and my wife was enamored by him. She loves him. She even bought his mask. Yeah, she loves the guy.
Oh,
so
wow. Well, that's good.
Right?
Sexy. Sexy is not one way you just define a bit.
Right. I guess that's why she stuck with me. I don't know. So one of my plans is to make it down to Louisville sometime this summer, catch a baseball game, to see you guys. But what else do you want to say before I shift gears one more time? What else do you want to say about OVW? This is going to be a working partnership with us. About once a month you'll come on the show, we'll chat. Yeah. But what else do you want to cover about OVW that I didn't dive into yet?
I just think that people, we've got an amazing pedigree and an amazing history with OVW, and it's a world-renowned brand. And with Chad's drive and passion and my experience, we're going to take OVW to places that it's never been before, and creatively and direction-wise, and just in general. I mean, we've already accomplished, quite honestly, so much in just the short time that we've had it, that even I sit back and am amazed. Had the 1,000th consecutive television episodes. I mean, that's that quite honestly is not just history as far as wrestling. That's history as far as television production is concerned. As far as wrestling is concerned, there's only one other company that can say that, and that's WWE. Raw's had 1,000 episodes, and SmackDown had their 1,000th episode a week after we had ours. And we had 1,000 fans, and we did our first live television broadcast from that event, and we at the same time did a live pay-per-view on Fight TV at that same event. So, we've done all of that, accomplished all of that in a few short months, and I can only imagine what we're going to be able to accomplish in the next 6 to a year. It's going to be something to watch for sure.
Are we looking at OVW traveling at all, or can we see it coming to Pennsylvania? I mean, I'm not saying next week or something, but is it something that you guys are looking to?
Never rule it out. I mean, we get the outlet over there, and through Fight TV and through any possible broadcasting, and we can build an audience. And by all means, we would, bring an event there. Do it live.
Okay. See, that's all I wanted to know. Good. Let's talk about. You have a book coming out. You said it was a coloring book, right?
Yeah, it's an adult coloring book.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just a book about my career. It took quite a few years. A lot of people said, "Yeah, you should write a book. You should write a book, tell some stories." And I'm like, I don't think anybody will find it that interesting. But they finally convinced me, and I sat down. It's been a very long process. I was surprised at how long a process it was, and how much effort it does to take to do this. But it'll come out in the spring. I think Amazon is doing pre-sales on the book right now, and it's bizarre. The life lessons, self-help is the title of the book. I wanted to call it how to take shit and make shoe polish and other lessons that I've learned from wrestling. But the editor didn't want that, so it was called self-help. and life lessons that from the bizarre career of Al Snow and wrestling. So.
That editor, let me tell you, I think yours definitely would have sold. You would have crushed McFoley.
I think so.
So, all right. You also have another thing you're doing, and it's Collar and Elbow. We have it on our website. We have it on our Facebook. The shirts are amazing. Favorite one is by far the American Dream one. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you. Yeah. Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com, and we've got all kinds of designs. We tried to create designs for people that have a passion and a love for wrestling, for professional wrestling, for MMA, any kind of grappling. But, let's face it, if you wear a professional wrestling design, like a shirt, out in public, then you're going to get the guy who's going to go, "Oh, why do you watch that? That stuff's fake." And you're like, "Wow, thanks, Sherlock. You really solved that mystery. How many years did it take for you to put the clues together to come to that conclusion?" But we try to make them out of really high quality material and create designs that you could wear anywhere and somebody would see it. And if you're a wrestling fan, you see the designs and you pick up on the little connotations as far as wrestling's concerned, and you get it, and it's something you can share. And if you're not a wrestling fan, you can wear it, and people don't care because it's just a cool design.
All right, we have a couple more minutes. Floor is yours. You, both of you, whatever you want to say, and then we'll wrap it up.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I just want to thank you for taking the time, letting us come on today, and it's pretty cool for me to be able on a show from back home. I get back there about twice a year, but hopefully we can bring high quality Ohio Valley Wrestling and Gladiator Sports Network entertainment up to the are you guys the Ridgeway Rovers or
we're the Ridgeway Elkers? The Ridgeway Elkers. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. That's well. I was a Keystone Panther, so.
Yes, I know you well.
Yeah, and I can't thank you enough to give us a platform to promote, Gladiator Sports Network, and we're not just we do OVW and we're very proud and very passionate about that, but we also we do Game On, which is we've got Chris Redmond that played for the Buffalo Bills and was a Super Bowl and Brand
Falcon
VP for
Falcons.
And they host that Game On high school football show. And we produce that, and we produce Friday Night Fights, which is, boxing that we've from boxing events that we've held. And, we're just looking forward to doing, many more things and, putting them out there and hopefully building an audience and, having some fun doing it.
One of the big things Al didn't mention, but we're really working hard on is we're actually currently ranked number 3 in the world for wrestling schools, and we're actually working on getting trade school approval for that. We'll actually be one of the first wrestling schools in the world to be trade school approved, so kids can actually get financial aid and Pell Grants and things like that to come down and work out with Al and further their wrestling careers as well.
Where was that when I was growing up? My mother wouldn't give me $5 to get a Snickers bar,
It'll be a game changer. And, to Chad's point, we're not just going to teach. If you come to the school, you don't just learn how to wrestle. You learn all aspects of the wrestling business or sports entertainment business. And that means from broadcasting to camera work, to audio work, to lighting, to producing, to writing, everything. So that, if you have a passion for it, and God help you, if for some reason, your in-ring career were to come to an end, you'd have an education in skills that would allow you to be able to still make a living in an industry that you would enjoy working in, whether it be with sports entertainment and professional wrestling broadcasting, or whether it just be in entertainment and broadcasting alone. We're really excited about the fact that we're able to give kids that, typically would just go to a quote unquote wrestling school an opportunity to learn skills that would, give them tools to be able to make a living outside of the ring as well.
So you're saying there's still a chance for a fat, balding 41-year-old in Ridgeway to come to a school that you are running, so I could possibly broadcast, run lighting, or something like that?
Yep, and even maybe write, produce, direct. Yeah.
Well, the wife just shot me to divorce papers with the eyes right now. So I want to thank you guys for the time today. We'll set up another time to come on, fill you more in on OVW. Definitely want to get you on before your pay-per-view so you can talk about that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay?
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys for being on, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. What a fun interview that was with owners Chad Miller and Al Snow of OVW. Guys, I want you to go out there and check out everything they have. Collar and Elbow. I want to just talk about that. My favorite shirt is the American Dream shirt. There's other ones. There's Support Indie Wrestling. As you heard Paul say on Wednesday, he's going to order a Job Squad shirt. But just the classic Collar and Elbow, right over top of it. That in itself, there's a distinct look to that. So I really want you guys to check out collarandelbow.com. December 14th, their pay-per-view, as I'm doing my air quotes, will be on Fight TV. Guys, sign up for Fight TV. Watch this pay-per-view. If not, maybe somebody come over to my house and we'll be doing splitsies and we'll watch it. Whatever. I will be watching it. Just thank you to Al Snow and Chad Miller for coming on Can Crushers and spending a little time with us, and glad that this partnership with Can Crushers and Ohio Valley Wrestling is going to blossom into something. I want to take a moment here, step back, and give out a huge shout out to Brad Benizzuti. Brad, without you, this interview could not have happened. You reached out to me saying, hey, I want you to meet somebody, and then this is what turned out. This amazing interview with Chad and Al. So lots of wrestling this weekend. Make sure you support everything indie. A lot of WWE as well. So take some time, watch some wrestling. It snowed out here in the northwestern Pennsylvania area. So YouTube and WWE Network. We will catch you guys on Wednesday.